want? What you want?
Welcome back to another episode series of jPlay. I announced it several times already, and today I will make it true. I will start my playthrough of Police Precinct. For me, really one of the best cooperative games out there on the market. It's very fresh, it's very young. It's at certain points a little bit immature. I think this was a Kickstarter campaign, and there were some little arrows in respect to the board and so on. I will show you that, but apart from that, it's absolutely fun. So it's really, it's working good in cooperative mode. There's also a traitor mechanism in place, so one or two of the players can be a dirty cop, and this will make the game completely different each time when you play that. So it's really perfect and comes with loads of variants in this game. Apparently, as I will play this alone, I won't do any traitor mechanism, so there will be not any dirty cop. I will follow more or less the standard solo rules that ship with Police Precinct, so it also plays out very nice solitaire. Can also recommend that. Yeah, as usual, I will have a peek what's coming with Police Precinct. I already prepared some of the stuff here, so I won't do any real unboxing or so, but I think most of you should be aware what's coming with Police Precinct. And yeah, I think I will explain you a little bit, or show you a little bit the components, what they are for. Maybe explain you one or two of the rules, but the rules are really not the problem here. So I think I can explain you everything as usually, so during my actual gameplay. And as it's cooperative, I have enough time to explain that. So, hope you're looking forward to that. I certainly do. I really played it a lot already. I played it with all the variants out there, so with Dirty Cop, without Dirty Cop, 6 players, 2 players, so really loads of different variants. I think I really preferred a little bit not with 6 players. This was kind of a tricky situation, so when we played this with 6 and we played it twice, the Dirty Cops didn't have a chance actually. Of course, there are some possibilities to tweak the rules, whatever, lower the amount of street punks and so on, but still they could not really do much to stop us finding the murderer. But apart from that, I enjoyed it every time, even if the Dirty Cops didn't have a chance, and luckily I wasn't a Dirty Cop in that round, so I was pretty successful with my fellow investigators. And yeah, let's have a look what's coming with Police Precinct, and until then, let me quickly tell you what we have to do to win this game. A murder has taken place in, I think it's Commonweal, and our main goal is to catch the murder. How do we do that? I think most important then would be to fill these, or place the evidence cards on the appropriate slots here on our whiteboard here, on our pinboard. And we find these evidences in the so-called investigation deck. For example, the crime scene evidence, the interview some witnesses, we can examine the body, and of course we need to find the murder weapon. There are a different amount of cards in each of these decks. For example, there are exactly 2 autopsy reports that we have to find in the examined body, and we do that in the morgue, of course. There's only 1 murder weapon. This murder weapon will be hidden somewhere in one of the warehouses in Commonweal. Then we have 2 witness statements. There are also only exactly 2 witness statements in this deck here, and the crime scene evidences we find here in this deck, and this will be placed at the crime scene on the main game board. Whenever we filled these slots all up, then we are allowed to actually catch the murderer, but the murderer won't enter the play until or before turn 16. So in a 2-player or 1 or 2-player variant, we have some time actually to go through this evidences. In a 6-player game, this is a bit more challenging because the turn track already starts at round 15, so only 1 round later the murderer will enter the play. Whenever the murderer will land on the space 22, this will be a failure and the murderer will escape. But I tell you that as soon as we come to that. This is the crime scene, and we will place the crime scene evidences on that slot. So this is a hidden pile, and we have to search through this pile in a later step during the investigation to find the appropriate amount of evidences from the crime scene. There will be 6 in total that we need to find before we are allowed to actually catch the murderer. Of course, we also need the other evidences like the murder weapon, for example. So let's shuffle the die where we will place the witness cards, and this is the 6, so we place this on an apartment on block number 6. So this would be block number 6, and we put that in the Wilfred apartments over here, and we can enter through the Vasil Avenue, I think that's not a coincidence, and go inside of the building here to interview the witnesses. Let's quickly roll where we have to put the murder weapon, and this would be in block number 3, and we will place this there in a warehouse in this block number 3. So, and here in Warner warehouse we might be able to find the murder weapon, and last but not least we have to place the body investigation cards in the city morgue, so there's no need to roll that. There's the morgue to the Colfax Avenue, and this will be our search deck for our evidences for the body examination. And there's the nice little error that comes with Police Precinct, so I already corrected that. So there is an entry from, I think it's from Commonweal Games. They put us a little new compass here. The original compass, you might notice the slight difference. I decided to correct that, or to play it correct. There's also one event card that's wrong, basically, but I decided to play that right, and also I corrected the proper event card, so you will see that later on. These are our 2 investigators. So we have Lisa Costello, a sergeant, then we have Joe Kinney, who really reminds me of Al Bundy, is a detective, and I think at least this guy is perfect choice if you go for a solo mission, because as you can see, he's the only character that has 2 investigation die and 2 emergency die at the same time. Normally, as you can see here, there's only one character, only one special ability where a character is very good at that. So I think this is very important for this 1 or 2 player game. So in a solo variant you also play with 2 detective actually, or 2 investigators, and you can see here Lisa Costello, who is good at arrest, and yeah, that's my choice. So you need some kind of a balanced team, so someone who is actually going for arresting the bad guys out there, and one character who will more or less focus on the emergencies or finding the murderer. Let's quickly have a look at the special abilities of Lisa. So for once, she has intuition. So, and that's very good because she can check each event card before bringing this into play. This is also very important if you're playing as a dirty cop, because you can really make, let's say, keep or put the good event cards under the stack and have the bad event cards on top of that. In this normal variant without a dirty cop, we will place it, of course, the right way, so keeping the problems below the stack. Then additionally they have the thorough ability, and this is also quite good when drawing investigation cards as your action. She has not to reshuffle the stack. This can be very good because, for example, if she can then bring some nothing found yet cards or so and didn't find any clue, then she is pretty sure that everything else on top might be some actual evidence. So very good tactical element to the game, can also help you when playing as a dirty cop. Have a look at Joe here, and he's versatile, so he is good at investigation and dealing with emergencies. I already explained that. So he has 2 dice here and can draw 2 cards here, and he's very committed, and this is also very good. At the end of your turn he can discard 1 donut to cancel the effect of the event card you have just drawn. So this is very good, especially when you're dealing with with an emergency or an urgent marker basically, and can really help you to avoid the worst in this game. And yeah, I think this is really the perfect character for a solo play here. Both characters start at the police precinct here, of course, and we will choose Costello having the marked car and Kimmy going with the unmarked car. This is also a difference because with a marked car like this one here, you are allowed to actually move 3 spaces or 3 streets instead of the standard 2. But with the unmarked car here, you can apparently are only allowed to play or move 2 streets, but during an investigation you are allowed to draw 1 card more to your normal bonus drawing basically. Additionally, we will have this I think it's some kind of a help character, and this is only be used in a 1 or 2 player game. This is not really a player, but this card can be used to actually support you doing emergency arrests or whatsoever. It deals like, or it feels like a standard 3rd player, but he does not do any special or own action, so does not have an own turn. So this is very good as long as you have some additional police cars in your in the same street as you, and you are dealing with arrests or handling emergencies, investigating the murderer. Then each car or each police car in the same street gives you 1 die or 1 card bonus actually. So this is very good. So it's a bit making the game a little bit lighter. And there are also some event cards in the game who say, hey, you have to have 2 cars on the same street to handle this emergency. And with only 2 players, so just remembering someone would be in the northwestern and the other character would be in southeast of the map, then it's very difficult to actually handle this emergency or the event card, and that's why you can each player can also move this car 2 or 3 streets with him or with her actually, which is very good. In a 2-player game or also in a 1-player game, the turn or the game starts always at turn 1. Of course, there's a possibility to make the life a little bit tougher, so when you are getting more experience you can also say, hey, let's start on turn 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you prefer, however how good you are actually. But in this playthrough we will just keep it simple and we will start on turn number 1. Next we have to draw already 2 emergency cards for starting this game, so let's quickly do that. So this is no emergency, this is not, this is one, I will place that later on. Let's go search the second one. So these purple cards are not emergencies, and here is the second emergency, and I will place them now on the appropriate spots on the board. So we have 1 emergency down here on the corner of 1st Street and Stickle Avenue. This is a traffic accident, and this emergency also comes with 2 street punks we have to place on the board, and I think let's quickly do that. So let's roll 2 dice, or that's a 1 and a 2, so we have to place now street punks on 2 of these blocks in the appropriate bat hoods. So one goes here in bat hood number 1, and the second one goes here into the bat hood number 2. The second emergency is this thief here at Snyder's Liquors, and it also comes with an unknown circumstances, so this is something that adds some variance to each of these emergencies, though there can be whatever, a dog under there who makes the life tougher, or some criminal who respects the uniformed cop or doesn't respect a uniformed cop and will make the life easier or harder, or this could be someone with a knife or with a whatever. So this is unknown as long as we are not facing this emergency. And now we have to place 4 additional street punks, or is it 6? Let me check that. 4 or 6 additional street punks on the city, and I think then we are more or less done with the preparations. There are actually 6 street punks, of course, so we have to place them now on the according spots here. So 2 will go to the block number, bat hood number 5, 2 will go to block 6, 1 to 4, and 1 to 3. In this case, it's only important that during the setup there are not allowed to be more than 3 street punks on one bat hood, because this would mean a street gang would form, and this is not allowed in this setup. Of course, this could also be played differently if you say, oh, I don't care, I want to deal with street punks from the very start, but I will keep it simple here as well and won't do that. So 2 of these street punks go into bat hood number 6. And one thing to I have to mention here, there's also a variable amount of street punks available to the game, and in a 1 or 2 player game this is 14. So whenever we are asked to place another street punk on the street and we cannot do that, then the crime track will advance 1 step, and I explain you the crime track in 1 second. But let's quickly place the remaining street punks. So 2 go to bat hood number 5, 1 goes to bat hood number 4 here, and the last goes to bat hood number 3, all the way in northeastern of Commonweal. This is the Commonweal crime track. The crime marker will start here on the start spot, and whenever it reaches the fail button here, then we automatically lose the game in this case, or playing with a dirty cop, then the dirty cops would win the game. And there are several coincidences when this crime track might move. For example, if we don't handle emergency or urgent markers, we cannot place any street banks, we cannot form a new street gang and stuff like that, but I think I will show you that when we come to that. The last thing we have to deal with is deal the police cards to each officer. Also in a 1 or 2 player game, each cop gets 2 of these police cards. So these are the 2 cards for Mr. Kinney here. Let's have a look at those. So this is a fast response. This allows you to move up to 2 extra streets during your turn, and this is allocate resources. This is something you can only do when at the police station. Then you can draw 4 police cards. Here it says player cards. It's a bit of a misleading, though it's always police cards. You can keep 1, give 1 to another player, and the rest of the cards will be placed at the bottom of the deck. One thing to notice here, so there are 2 possibilities to use these police cards. So ones are the text on the bottom here, so these can normally only be played when it's your turn, and there is no limit on how many cards you are able to play. And they are not, let's say, they are not considered as being in action. And the icon here on the top here is something where you can support other players when dealing with arrests, emergencies, or investigations. And so something, so you can, for example, if Lisa is going for an arrest and Joe wants to support her, then he could discard this card here and give her 1 handcuff symbol more. This allows her to roll 1 more die, actually. But keep in mind, the card is discarded, and Joe Kinney cannot use then the text on the bottom of the card. So these are the 2 cards for Miss Costello. One would be the request assistance, which can be very handy because it allows you to draw another character to your street. And the other one is fresh perspective. It's something that would fit a little bit better to Mr. Kinney. But also she can use that as well, because then she can take a peek at the top 3 cards of any investigation deck and then can put it back in any order, and even decide to reshuffle the whole deck. This might come in handy in this solo variant. For example, when all the 3 cards are more or less dots, or let's say nothing found here, then we can reshuffle the pile and increase the chance of getting something from this investigation deck. One last thing to explain here is the police precinct, the police station. So there are these 4 street cops here. They can be used through special police cards. None of these 2 characters have those at this point in time. And the other deck would be here, the ability deck. So when spending a donut from what you have earned, then you are allowed to level up basically, and they're only reflecting these cuffs here, the emergency symbol or the investigation symbol, and allows you just to roll 1 more die or draw 1 more card actually. And each cop is only allowed to have at the maximum 2 upgrades. That's all. I think these were all the preparations I had to do. I think I explained to you very little about the rules, and I think that's okay, because I will explain those to you while I play. So in the next video I will explain all the different actions that each cops may take during his turn and so on when I'm actually playing the game. I decided that Mr. Kinney will go first. It's just the left player here, so there's not really something, really doesn't matter, to be honest, in this solo variant here. So Mr. Kinney will go first in his unmarked car, and then we will see what he might be doing. Yeah, I think this concludes my introduction video for Police Precinct. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you're really looking forward to the actual gameplay. I certainly do. And yeah, until then, wish you a nice weekend and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.